It is a cold morning in Billund, Denmark, in the winter of 1984. Snow blankets the small Jutland town that the Christiansen family has transformed into the plastic brick capital of the world. Inside the LEGO Group's headquarters, a meeting is about to take place that will alter the company's century-long trajectory. A television documentary has caught the eye of LEGO's owner, Kjeld Kirk Christiansen. On the screen, a bearded mathematician is teaching children to program turtles that crawl across the floor. The mathematician is Seymour Papert, a South African-born thinker working at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Papert has spent years developing a theory he calls constructionism. Children, he argues, learn best not by being told, but by building things with their own hands. His 1980 book, titled Mindstorms, has become a manifesto for a generation of educators. Kjeld Kirk Christiansen sees in Papert's ideas a mirror of his own family's philosophy of play. Within months, LEGO reaches out to MIT. A partnership is forged that will quietly run for more than a decade. Papert is appointed LEGO Professor of Learning Research at the Media Lab, a title funded by the toy company itself. In return, MIT researchers gain access to LEGO's bricks, and LEGO gains access to MIT's wildest ideas. The collaboration begins with a simple question: what if the bricks themselves could think? The first fruit of the partnership appears in 1986. It is called LEGO TC Logo, a kit that lets schoolchildren connect bricks to an Apple computer and drive motors with simple commands. The software borrows Papert's Logo programming language, the same language used by those screen-crawling turtles. For the first time, a LEGO model can be told what to do, but the system is tethered by wires, anchored to a desktop machine. The dream of an untethered, intelligent brick still lies ahead. Inside the Media Lab, a young researcher named Fred Martin begins tinkering with a radical idea. What if the computer could live inside the brick itself? Working alongside Mitchell Resnick and Brian Silverman, Martin builds what the team nicknames the programmable brick. It is a chunky yellow block stuffed with a microcontroller, ports for motors, and sockets for sensors. By the early 1990s, prototypes are crawling, rolling, and beeping across the laboratory floor. The prototypes are thrilling, but they are not yet a product. LEGO executives in Billund debate fiercely whether the company should sell something so technical. The toy market of the early 90s is dominated by action figures and video game consoles. Robotics for children seems, to many, an absurd gamble. Yet Kjeld Kirk Christiansen presses forward, convinced that the future of play must include the language of machines. The project is given a code name and a small, dedicated team. Engineers in Denmark begin translating the Media Lab's research into something a child can open on Christmas morning. They must shrink the electronics, simplify the wiring, and design a programming environment that a 10-year-old can master in an afternoon. The team works in near secrecy, aware that they are inventing a new category of toy. They borrow a title from Seymour Papert's celebrated book. They call the system Mindstorms. On the 1st of September 1998, LEGO Mindstorms is unveiled to the world. At its heart sits the RCX, a chunky yellow brick the size of a deck of cards. Inside the RCX hums a Hitachi H8 microcontroller, 32 kilobytes of memory, and an infrared port for downloading programs. 3 input ports accept sensors for touch, light, and rotation. 3 output ports drive motors, lamps, and sound. The brain of the robot is, at last, a brick. The launch kit is named the Robotics Invention System. It retails for around $200 in the United States, a steep price for a toy. The box contains more than 700 LEGO pieces, sensors, motors, and a CD-ROM full of software. Children sit at their family computer, drag colourful command blocks across the screen, and beam their creations to the brick by infrared. Within weeks, the first batch of 80,000 units sells out completely. What happens next surprises everyone at LEGO. The buyers are not only children. Adults, engineers, university students, and hobbyists swarm into toy stores to grab the kit. By some early estimates, as many as 70% of Mindstorms sets end up in the hands of grown-ups. Online forums spring up overnight. Within 3 weeks of launch, hackers have reverse-engineered the RCX firmware and posted their findings on the internet. At LEGO's headquarters, lawyers gather to discuss the breach. Some executives demand legal action against the hackers. But cooler heads, including senior managers in Billund, recognize something extraordinary. The community is not stealing, it is building. Programmers write new languages for the brick, with names like NQC, LeJOS, and BrickOS. They give the RCX abilities its designers never imagined. LEGO makes a decision that, for a toy company in 1998, is almost unthinkable. It embraces the hackers. The firm quietly publishes the specifications of the RCX, inviting the world to tinker. It is one of the earliest experiments in what would later be called open innovation. The Mindstorms community becomes, in effect, an unpaid research and development department. Their inventions feed directly back into LEGO's future products. Across living rooms and classrooms, Mindstorms robots come alive. There are robotic arms that sort coins by size. There are line-following cars that navigate masking tape highways across kitchen floors. A team at Carnegie Mellon University builds a Rubik's Cube solver from a single kit. In Japan, hobbyists construct a working pinball machine driven entirely by RCX bricks. The toy has become a laboratory. In 1999, a new competition takes shape called First LEGO League. It is founded by inventor Dean Kamen in partnership with the LEGO Group. Children aged 9 to 14 build Mindstorms robots to tackle real-world engineering challenges. The first season draws around 200 teams. Within 2 decades, the league will host more than 40,000 teams across more than 90 countries. A generation of engineers is, quite literally, learning to think with bricks. Back in Billund, the success forces a reckoning. For decades, LEGO had defined itself by the plastic stud, the timeless brick patented in 1958. Now its best-selling product hums with silicon and code. The company begins to see itself differently, not as a maker of toys, but as a platform for creativity. The Mindstorms brand becomes a laboratory for that new identity. It also becomes a lifeline. The early 2000s bring a brutal crisis for the LEGO Group. By 2003, the company is losing money at a frightening rate, teetering near bankruptcy. New leadership under Georgian Vig Nudstorp slashes products and refocuses on the core brick. Yet Mindstorms is spared. Its loyal community and its educational reach make it too valuable to cut. The robotic brick helps keep the company tethered to the future. In 2006, LEGO releases the successor, Mindstorms NXT. The new brain is sleeker, more powerful, and shaped like a small white tablet. This time, LEGO designs the product openly, with a panel of adult fans and educators consulted from the start. 4 of those advisors are members of the original RCX hacker community. The toy company has learned to build with its customers, not merely for them. Generations follow. The EV3 arrives in 2013, running Linux on its tiny processor. The Robot Inventor set appears in 2020, connecting bricks to smartphones over Bluetooth. Each iteration carries forward the original promise of 1998. A child can pour the contents of a box onto a carpet and within hours command a machine of their own design. The brick still thinks. In 2022, LEGO announces it will retire the Mindstorms line as a standalone brand. Its features, the company says, will be folded into LEGO Education and other robotics products. For many fans, it is the end of an era that began with a documentary, a mathematician, and a snowy morning in Billund. Yet the spirit of Mindstorms now lives in classrooms and competitions on every continent. The plastic brick learned to listen, to move, and to learn. Seymour Papert died in 2016, but his vision endures every time a child snaps together a sensor and writes a line of code. The Mindstorms story is, in the end, a parable about play. It is about what happens when a toy company trusts children with real computers and trusts adults to remain children at heart. From a humble brick came a bot, and from that bot, a generation of builders. The studs on top still click together, just as they did in 1958, waiting for the next idea.